So I've got it recording now.
Yes, I'm going to have to look into this. Now my mouse is a little bit laggy. That's the dongle, because I'm going to fix this, but I've got 3 dongles, one for wireless headphone, one for the keyboard, and one for the mouse. I can't put them all in a line of sight, but it'll be all right. Right.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'm just debating which I want the lag on. We don't do much typing, so I think I'll switch the keyboard and the mouse and just. You haven't just dropped out, have you?
No, I'm still here. Still here.
Yep. I think that's just the Windows operating system saying I've pulled them out. So I'm just going to swap them over. See if I get better. I think the mouse is the main thing with this interface. Oh yeah, that's better. Right. Okay. So ready to go.
We good? All right.
So what I've got to do, I've got to put my 5 characters out.
All right.
Oh, no, it's not 5 characters, it's 3 characters. That's right.
It's up to 5.
Up to 5. And you've only got 3?
I've got 3, yeah.
Right, and then so we just reveal them all.
Sure. So I've got Sam and Pippin and their babysitter, Aragorn.
And I've got the same guys you had last time.
Good. All right.
Okay, so put our minor items out. Sure who to put the dagger on. They both got prowess 5.
Protect your ranger.
Ah, yes, that's right, because they'll need that ranger skill. Yep. All right.
Probably not with the deck I'm playing against you because, well, you need the ranger skill for the ford. That's right. There are also cards that penalize your opponent if they don't have a ranger or if they don't tap a ranger. So ranger is a kind of a more almost of a passive skill that is necessary.
Right. You need someone. Right. Okay, so do we roll the
yes,
dice
let's
now
roll.
to see
Let's go ahead and roll.
God. I'm glad I got that out of the way early.
All right, so I'm going to leave. I've got 2 more characters over here in the pool. They're hobbits. I'm going to leave them, and when I do draw hand, it will shuffle them in, and I could draw one of them, but they shuffle into the deck otherwise. So I draw hand and keep hand.
Draw hand. Oh, how interesting. So this time I've started with only 1 hazard. I think last time I started with only 1 resource. The law of averages. Oh, so I know because I started the game, it thinks I'm starting, so I've got a pass turn.
You need to, yeah. All right. So I start turn. Let me go ahead and lay. I haven't even really looked at the cards in my hand, so I need a minute. But I will get the starting site out.
I just showed you one of my cards. Yeah. So why did I do that? I hovered over one of my cards and pressed the right arrow, thinking it would put it to the end of the hand, but it brought it up in the chat.
I haven't seen the chat. I'm not looking at the chat, so I won't pay attention to it for a little while.
Why did it do that? Isn't that how you off?
If you hover your mouse over a card and you right arrow, it will put the name of the card in the chat window.
Yep. I forgot you've got to wiggle the card to move it to the.
Oh right, that's it. Yes. All right. So we're at Rivendell. We have Aragorn is 3 points. Sam and Pippin are 2 more, so we've got 5 character points. I'm using 9 mind with Aragorn and another 8 mind with Sam and Pippin. So I have 3 free general influence. Aragorn has 3 direct influence, but that's not enough to control either of these 2 hobbits. So we're just going to stay the way we are.
I remember that. Yeah, there's another 2, isn't there? Is it Merry and
Mary and the
Fatty Bulgar, I think it's 3.
yes, he is. He is, and Robin Smallborough. There
That's the
are a
one.
couple, but I wanted to try to keep it a little bit more thematic. It's Aragorn with two of his company of 9 that he has to keep an eye on.
Yep.
So he's taking them on a little run to here. All right, so I've skipped a button or two here. I need to untap all, which they are untapped. I've laid my sight down, so I'm organized. I have no long events. We'll go into the movement hazard phase, and we'll go to the old forest. And it will be...
So that could be Tom. Could be Tom you're going to try and get down.
Could be Tom. So it's double wilderness.
1
And we can draw 1 each.
Yeah, and it's another resource. Yeah.
You'll be ready on your turn.
The only hazard I've got is Twilight.
And there's nothing to play it on either.
At this stage. Yeah. So I can't even play it to get it out of my hand.
No. Well, you'll have to discard. If there's nothing to play, you will have to discard 1 card before the end of the movement hazard phase, or at the end of the movement hazard phase.
Yep. Okay. So I'll go no hazards.
Has your card scrolled off the top of the chat box? Can I look over?
Well, it was the Twilight.
Oh, that was Twilight. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so we're there at the site. So I have 9 in my hand. I'm going to discard a card. Back down to 8. I move Rivendell back to the location deck.
And I can do that at the same time,
And
can't I? Yep.
Aragorn is going to tap to get Goldberry. So I've swapped out. We're staying in the same regions where you were playing this company.
Yep.
The Hobbits. But I thought I'd try it with a little bit different, a little bit of a twist to it. So, I needed to go to site phase. Let me go back.
So
up to
one
8.
really simple question: is east and west the same as we think of it? Are you on the east or the west side of the continent? That side of the mountains.
We're talking about where, in Middle Earth or in real world?
In Middle Earth. Yeah.
Yes, we're on the west. Correct.
Yep. So you're going to play on the western side of
the mountains.
Those mountains are.
That's exactly right.
Yep. That runs through the middle. Yep. I just had it in my head that it was reversed for some reason. So.
All right. So you can discard and draw if you like.
I haven't even. I've got an easy discard because I've got 2 copies of Gandalf.
There you go. That's good. Get him out of the way. Get him played and get his other copy out of the way so later in the game you don't get a dead card.
Okay, so done.
All right.
Oh. Okay, so start turn. Untap all. Right, so I better do my bookkeeping. So you had this set up, didn't you, that Elrond with his...
He can control his son.
Elfstone could take...
Or he can control Legolas, yeah. He can take Legolas.
Yeah. And that'll free up more general influence. So,
correct.
So if I click on Legolas...
And click Organize and put him in locale 1.
Okay, yep. Right.
So now you have 6 free general influence to protect you from Call of Home and that sort of thing.
Yes, I've got that in mind, that Call of Home.
Uh-huh.
And I've got 3, 2 is 5 is 6 character points. Oops. Right. And can I reveal Gandalf on the first turn?
Absolutely. And this is the best time to do it because he can come right in at Rivendell. And that's where they are. So he joins up with them immediately.
Oh, what
And-
happened there? Did I put him in the wrong? Oh, I must have put him in the wrong locale. But if I reveal him and then organise him,
Anyway, it's any
I should
order.
have gone
It
new
doesn't
party.
matter.
Yeah.
You just mess around with it until you're happy with where they are, and then leave it. But the way to do it is to the followers move the followers to the controllers, not the other way around. So the chump, the guy that's going to be the follower, click on him and click organize, and then put him in the column with the controlling character, and he'll be in the right order.
So say I wanted to move Gandalf to be on the left-hand side of the party.
Right. So
way?
click Gandalf and say organize and do column 1 or locale 1.
And then I'll have to.
And then click Elrond or Legolas, whoever you want to follow him. He can't control all two of those. And followers can't have followers. So he'll need to be, yeah. Now click Elra here and click follow and do second column, whatever he's in, and he'll switch spaces. Oh, wrong one. I'm sorry.
I'm getting there. Yeah.
You're getting there. Okay, I'll let you. I'll leave it.
Okay, so I'll just see what I've got here. So this is where I've got to sort of just check what these cards are. Yep. I've got an abundance of riches. I've got 2 villas.
Ooh.
For Elrond.
So here's the thing with that card: make sure that you have people untapped to help him with his corruption check on it, because it's a great card, but it can really, really punish him if he fails the corruption check.
Oh, I'd say it's modified by -3. So if you had to do it at the moment, he's got 1 point.
So he would have to beat a 4, a 2, a 3, or a 4, and he would either, if you rolled a 2, he would be eliminated and you'd lose those extra points. If you rolled a 3 or a 4, it would be equal to his corruption or 1 less, and he gets discarded but not eliminated. That was what he did in my game. He discarded. Yeah. He did not eliminate.
So I'm thinking, because I've got these 2 villas, I should be thinking if there's something I can use them for. So he gets +4 prowess, +2 body
to the end of the turn. So he and what is it? +6 direct influence.
Yep.
Yeah, he becomes a powerhouse.
So I'm just looking through my marshalling point cards to see what he could best help with, and I see that I've got Elves of Linden.
Yeah, so you could move. You could move to the Grey Havens, which would be a starter movement, haven to haven, and they would all they could all be there, and Gandalf could bring them in without even needing to roll because he has 10 direct influence. Or and here's what I would consider doing. I think I have the elf lord Círdan in that deck.
Yes.
He comes into play at the Grey Havens. That is his home site. And if he is at his home site, you get to hold an extra card in your hand. So what you could consider doing is move the whole company there. This turn, let Gandalf play the Elves of Linden. And then on your next turn, move the elves away, but leave Gandalf there to get Círdan to come in for 3 extra character points. And let your company run around without Gandalf. You won't lose him that way, but soon enough you'll get your Círdan and be able to play him under Gandalf's control for 3 more marshalling points.
And is this because of this rule that once the wizard's in play, you can't just bring a character in? The wizard's got to be there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. All right. That sounds a good plan. All right. So I'll get my site cards happening. So this is a little bit slow because I lost all my card images when I rebuilt the machine, so it had to load that map.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so there'll be some pauses when I'm doing these location cards. So I'll get up to Grey Haven at the same time. Yep. So now closing my sites. Click on location to get rid of that menu. Right, so just check what else I've got in my resources. Got a friend of 3 will be handy.
Friend of 3 would let pretty much anybody bring that faction in. Because they're all elves, except for Gandalf, who has 10 free anyway. They're all elves, and they get a bonus against the elves of Linden. And they would all get a +4 from a friend or 3, because it would count every character in the company. So they'd have something like a +5 or more.
Alright, so I just checked that I've got my marshalling points all sorted out. So that doesn't change the general influence free, does it? It's still...
No, but you're safe with 6. 6 is generally pretty safe number to stick with.
Yep.
I'm down with 3, and that's a little bit more dangerous, especially with hobbits, because once they go back to your hand, they have to come back out at bag end.
Yep. Okay, so organised. I've got no long events, so I go straight into the movement hazard phase. I reveal the card, and I mouse over the haven I'm coming from. Oh no, /P.
If you do /P on a haven, it will give both directions. That's fine to do. Go ahead and do it. Mm-hmm. But it's gonna throw up a whole bunch of symbols, and it's gonna look really strange. And what it's doing is it's giving the haven, it's giving the site path to each haven that it can go to. So first one... Is
there a better way to do it?
No. That first one... Well, the other way to do it would be to click on the standard regions and then click through the regions region by region.
All right.
But this is fine. I know where you're going. It's 1, 2, 3...
From Rivendell.
All right.
It's the 2... wilderness and
yeah. It's the second one. I was thinking that this was the... I see which card you clicked on. All right, so I got 2 wilderness and 1 free domain, and I get to draw 2.
Because it's from Rivendell. No, I do as well. Yep. So draw. Goodness me, still no hazards. You're getting a good run.
I have a lot of cards in hand. A lot of them are hazards.
I've got 4, 8. I've got 9 resource cards in my hand.
So I'm going to put the Lure of Nature on Gandalf. It's not going to do anything to him this turn. It will not. He cannot fail his checks this turn because he has an inherent +1 to his roll, and it only gives 2 corruption points. So there's no way he can fail his roll. But you will need to make sure to do something about that later. And that also will not affect his influence attempt on the faction. That's just corruption on him.
Okay. So you've got a hazard limit of 4.
I'm going to put a Lure of Expedience on Legolas. No particular reason for that. If I were really being mean, I would put it on Elrond because... I know Vilya makes him make checks, but we'll get there. The other thing is you can only play 1 corruption card per character, or this would go on Gandalf, but he's already got his corruption. And then we'll play a Slayer.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. You didn't move through that. I'm looking at the wrong path. You're there. No hazards.
I went through a free.
You went through a
No,
free
no,
domain and 2 wilderness, but I
Yep.
mistook the borderland for your site path.
Mm-hmm.
So you are there.
Right. Okay, so I've got to discard down.
I'm at 8 cards.
I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 marshalling point cards, so I think
Wow.
I'm just going to get rid of one of those. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I've got something in my deck that lets me. I forget what it was, but it lets me bring resources back from the discard pile up to 5 or something. I forget which card it was.
Well, you can tap your wizard. You can tap your wizard to get 5 cards from. Vilya. Vilya is what you're talking about. That's the Elrond card.
Does it do it?
Now, here's what they did. They I don't know if it said. I don't know exactly what version it says on the card that you've got there, but they later changed it because they realized it was much too powerful of a card. It used to say he could take 5 cards, 5 resources from his discard pile and shuffle them back into his play deck. Well, people would run 3 copies of Vilya and just keep recycling the Vilyas. And he was, as long as he was safe from corruption, he was almost impossible to stop. So they changed it. They did 2 things to the card to weaken it. They changed it from 5 cards to 3 cards, and they said that he can only do it if he is at Rivendell. So when he's running around actively, he can't recycle the cards. But if he is staying at Rivendell, he gives two advantages. He lets you recycle resource cards with Vilya, and he also, when Elrond is at Rivendell, you get to hold an extra card in your hand.
Yep. Yes, well,
So that's a long story.
Reading up the text.
That's a long story. I'm sorry.
No, because it makes me realise, because I was looking at the card texts in the player guide, which has got the errata on in the actual descriptions. But
so we should play them. We should play them the way they are.
That said include. Sorry.
I was going to say what we should do is we should play them pre-errata. Why not?
When I started the game, I ticked the checkbox that said include errata on the cards.
Okay. Well, so you play it the way you know it, because we're trying to play this with a minimum of corrections and errata and new rules. So I would be happy to let you play it the way it was printed on the card.
I'll just quickly go to the companion and see what the errata says there.
Okay.
It might be in the companion, because we are using the. No, it must have come in.
Was it after? If it's not in there, it must have been later.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a wrinkle, isn't it? So maybe next time we'll I won't check that box, and so it'll be the original version of the cards.
But we'll play it with the original version.
Because you really want the errata that's in the player's guide in the companion, but not the later ones.
Right.
which the checkbox probably covers everything.
Well, don't limit yourself with that card, because if you've read where it was and we're trying to play it where it was, we'll just say he can recycle 5 cards, and I'm fine with that. I think that the idea of limiting ourselves to the first set and playing it as it was originally put out is fun.
Yep. Okay, so I better get back to discarding a card. Right, so I'm back to 8. That's the movement hazard, so I go into the side phase.
Mm-hmm.
And I discard Rivendell.
Correct.
Oh, no, location deck for Rivendell.
Yeah, Havens always go back to the location deck, even if they're tapped. They just need to always be available.
Right, and...
Lo and behold, Gandalf finds the elves.
Yep, so I just use him. So I just click on the card.
Tap him, and it's automatic.
And then I go score, do I?
Correct.
Score to, yep, /score. And click on yours.
And then tally them in your little point box.
Oh, yep. So, factions. Now. So yeah, I don't have to tap the Haven, do I? Because
Well,
they always
actually,
go
you
back
do.
to.
You technically you are required to tap it. If there
Still do
were
it, yeah?
if
Right.
there was something else that you could do there, you would have to have an untapped version of it.
Okay, right.
But it
Yep.
will even a tapped Haven goes back to the location deck.
All right, so it's my end of
So
turn.
it's your end of turn,
phase.
and then you
Yep.
can
Gonna,
discard and draw if you like.
I can always discard. So I'll draw 2 because I'm really wanting to get some. Oh, I've got 2 more resources. Can you believe that? Coming up to your turn. That's unreal.
I'm not complaining. All right, so
so I was meant to click that button earlier. So I click a EOT discard to say.
yes. So that gives me the option. I'll
discard.
Discard and draw one, and I'm done. And then you can pass the turn.
Okay.
So we untap.
Well, I've got no hazards, so.
Well, I was
fill your boots.
Right. We'll do this. We'll get. So, organized. Movement hazard phase. Aragorn is taking these 2 hobbits to Moria. I don't know why.
Ooh.
He's supposed to be taking care of them. But there they go. 1, 2, 3 wilderness. You can draw 3 cards. I can draw 2.
Fingers crossed. 2 out of 3. That's pretty good.
And I drew only hazards, so. And we're moving to a shadow hold. And you have a hazard. You can play 2 cards since the hobbits count half.
Right, okay. Well, I've got one of the cards I've got is, you don't mind me telling you, do you?
No.
One of them I've got is funny, is Mouth of Sauron.
You're right.
And I'm just looking at the short event that says you can bring a hazard card from your discard pile back into your hand. So I could get that Twilight card back. That'd be the only thing at this stage.
Right. So
I don't think I'll be using it in that sense.
Here's another time that it's kind of funny to hold that card. I will hold that card sometimes to wait until I get a really good hazard that I play on somebody, and then I want to get that hazard back and play it again.
Yeah.
But so let's say I draw the Mouth of Sauron. I'm 2/3 of the way through my deck already. And I hold that card and I think, well, I'm going to wait till just the perfect time. And then before I realize it, I have cycled through my deck and the entire discard pile shuffles back into the deck, and I'm in the exact position you're in after holding that thing for like 4 or 5 turns.
That's poor card management, yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah,
and you go,
up.
okay, now I want to play it. Oh, wait, there's nothing it can get.
Yep. Okay, so it's no good to me at the moment, so I'll just go with the other one. So I've got a Call of Home.
Yeah. Who do you want to call? Now, here's the thing. You can call any of the 3, and it doesn't matter. It's not easier or harder to get any one of them.
Because they've
all... I roll, and I add the unused general influence. and I need a 10.
Oh, general influence, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have three.
Yeah.
I have 3 free general influence. So I have to roll a 7 or better. Otherwise, whichever character you played that on goes back to my hand. And Aragorn is the one to play it on because he's got the ally, and the ally will discard.
So I mouse over him and press the right arrow
Correct.
key just to identify.
And then I have to roll. So it says the character's player must make a roll. Return character to the player's hand.
You can't tap to support or anything?
No. This is just a flat out whether you have overextended yourself or not, and whether you're lucky with your roll or not. Not lucky. All right. So he can transfer 1 item. So I'm going to put that on him. Goldberry is going to discard, and he is going to go back to my hand. And the hobbits are going, where did our leader go?
We've entered into Moria, and he's run off. Yeah, they would have been better off on their own, I think.
Yeah.
So
So you can discard that. That was a great play. That was 1. So you have 1 more if you have another hazard to play.
I've only got that Mouth of Sauron. So
yes, hold on to him.
Yeah.
Actually, what happens is my general influence frees up a whole bunch, or you could. I was going to say, if you had enough hazards, you could get that card back, that Call of Home back, and do it again. But my influence frees up, and so I am no longer.
So it's immediate. It's not fixed from the start of the turn.
It goes back. If a character comes out from under direct influence, to come out from under another character's control, that doesn't count against your general influence. You don't have to settle it up until the next turn. So the bad things you can put off until the next turn. The good things, like if Aragorn goes back to my hand, it frees up automatically.
Okay. All right. So no more hazards.
All right. So I discard Old Forest. We're going to enter the site. We're going to Dark Quarrels, the Orc auto attack. It cancels 1 attack by orcs, trolls, or men. That's always a good card when hobbits are running around to orc auto attack sites because they don't want to face even an orc attack. So that cancels that. And Sam finds Aragorn's sword. He said, well, he ran away, but he left us his sword.
Still doing my discards.
I should have discarded down 2. I'm sorry. Let me back up. I had way too many cards. I had 11.
Yeah, I've just... Because as you can
imagine,
when you send Aragorn
back to my hand, when you sent Aragorn back to my hand, I lost... Okay, 10, 9.
I think I need to decide where I'm going so that I...
And then I play that. And then I play that.
I'm going to use that. Tough. Alright, so I'm back to 8. Where are we at?
Okay, I needed to click through. You get the end of turn discard. So you can discard and draw if you'd like.
Oh, I still haven't done my done.
And done.
So many buttons. Oh, so it skipped through to my turn. So yes, I didn't actually do my discard.
I passed it back. If you wanted to discard and draw, you can go ahead and do it right now. I just clicked through quickly.
No, I won't because I've got 7 resources. It's hard to choose one to get rid of.
Well, then
so
don't.
I'll start my turn. So untap all. Now,
Now, Gandalf can tap to try to remove the lure of nature, or he can not tap and take a -3 to the roll. That was so. Again, that was a little bit later. That wasn't a printed in the original rule book rule. So I don't know if you want to do that or not. But they decided that with corruption being so heavy, that you didn't have to waste a turn tapping every turn. If you wanted to try to remove it without tapping, you could, but you took a -3. So that's a 4 to the roll, greater than a 4. So if you didn't tap him, if you rolled greater than a 7, it would remove. But if you didn't roll greater than a 7, he wouldn't lose the corruption card, but he would still be untapped.
Yep. First, I've got to decide, I guess, where I'm going before I make that decision. Whether I think I need him untapped for the journey. Would you say?
Yeah.
Yep. And I've got Galadriel, so I was thinking I could just go haven to haven again and flip across.
Mm-hmm.
But can I do it from? It's not one of the nearest havens, is it?
No, you'd have to go from there back to Rivendell. Or if you're looking, I'm trying to remember who I put in there. What allies is Gollum in there? Do you have him in your hand?
I've taken him out.
Okay, because I was going to say there's a stopover. You could get as far as his place, but otherwise it would be to go to Rivendell, and then move from Rivendell to Lorien or Rivendell to whatever else you have.
Well, this brings me to a question then. I've picked up Elf Song, which is the one that lets you discard a corruption card at a haven.
Yes.
But I've got to play it in the long event phase.
Correct.
So it would be on my next turn. Then
No.
Actually utilize
it would work now. It would work exactly now because you would play it in the long event phase. You wouldn't have moved away from the haven yet because you haven't entered the movement hazard phase. So they are still considered, in the long event phase, they're still considered to be at their origin site.
Right. So I'll be able to get rid of one with that.
Yeah.
And would actually, if I'm moving to a haven, would I be able to get rid of the other one at the start of my next turn? Because it'll still be in play.
When does it say on the card?
Hang on.
I think it says may immediately remove one corruption.
When Elf Song comes into play, each character at Haven may immediately remove one corruption card.
Right, so it's just that first trigger. But the ongoing effect that is the long event is that characters at havens cannot be discarded or sent back to their...
Yep. So the trigger only happens at once, and
But it's a great trigger too, because you've got 2 corruption and you're sitting. I mean, 2 corruption cards, and you're sitting at a haven, and you'll knock them both off.
Yeah. Okay, so I know I'm going to knock off game. So
don't even bother rolling. Yeah, don't even worry about those.
But maybe I could roll to get rid of the lure of expedience.
Well, won't you get... Each character can remove one.
Oh, hang on. Let me check that. I just assumed it was one card. Oh, yeah. Each character. Yeah. Okay.
Each character at a haven.
Yep. That's good. All right. So
I said you've drawn that at the perfect time.
Yeah. That was one of those sort of corruption counter cards that I mentioned that I worked into the...
Yes.
Oh, did you already have them in there?
I had one. I had one of those.
Yeah, I think I've upped it to 3 from memory. Yes, I did.
Another trick with that is at the end of the game, if you play one of those, you can play characters during your next organization phase that would take you to more than 20 points of mind, but they don't go back to your hand because the Elf Song breaks that rule. It says characters at Haven cannot be returned to their player's hand for any reason. So it lets you take a last turn bonus character into the game.
That almost sounds a bit gamey to me.
It is, but it works.
But that's what people do.
It's one of the nuances of the rules.
You know you're up against an experienced player when they whip out Elf Song.
Well,
At the end.
people like to sort of explore the combinations of cards and rules and see
Mm,
what you can come up with, because when you build a deck, it's kind of it's sort of an original thing, and it's fun to find something that maybe you could exploit that no one thought about. Hey, these two cards work great together, that sort of
yep.
thing. Or this card lets you do this. No one thought of that, but it lets you do this.
Yep. Well, sorry this is all taking so long this turn, but there's lots of cards
Of course.
that are sort of.
Take your time.
Yep, if you don't mind. So
Take your
I've got Fair Travels and Wilderness short event. So
Uh-huh.
does that apply if you're moving to Haven?
Yes, it
It
applies
says
as
to
long
a
as you're
site.
moving. It reduces the hazard limit by 1 for every wilderness you move through to a minimum of 2, and you've got a company of 4. So if you move through 2 wilderness, the hazard limit's down to 2.
Yep. So there's no reason I'll play that.
Yeah, that knocks 2 off your hazard limit right there.
So I'll leave that up until the end of my
Good.
movement hazard phase. So we
Good.
remember. And what's the other one? I've also got Fair Travels and Borderlands, but I won't be going. I forget now what was the other.
The Elf Song.
No, I was just trying to remember the path to Rivendell. It's 2 wilderness and a free domain. So
Correct.
Fair Travel and Borderlands wouldn't.
No, you're
so
not going
I'll
through any
hold
Borderlands on that side of the map.
Yeah. Okay, so that took a while, but I'm organised.
Mm-hmm.
And so now my long event I play at this point. Just the
Nice.
Elf Song, and then I can immediately.
You got it. I drag those to my
Yep.
discard pile.
Oh, that was a nice card.
I told you. So again, when Elf Song is in play, no character at a haven may be discarded or returned to its owner's hand for any reason. So what you have to do is you have to huddle your entire company at a haven so that nobody can be sent back to your hand. And you can bring in more than 20 worth of mind.
Okay.
All right.
But that's only at the end of the game.
That would work at the end of the game. Well, it would wear off.
Yep.
The turn that benefit would go away once the long event goes away.
Right.
So we know the path.
P again.
I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Let's just go click, click, click.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I know what it is.
Did you do it on the location?
I did. I did it on the regions, on the map.
Yep. I'll do that next time because it's a bit confusing.
It only gets confusing when you're going haven to haven, just because he's got both paths, because you're not sure which way you're going when you click the give me the shorthand. All right.
Yep.
So I draw 2.
So it's 2 each. Yep.
And your Fair Travels in Wilderness decreased the hazard limit by 1 for every wilderness to a minimum of 2, so it went from 4 down to 2. So I have 2 hazards I can play. We'll play a Cave Drake. And since if you have any cancelers, you can cancel it. Otherwise, I will pick the characters that it will attack.
No cancellers.
All right, let's go after Legolas and Gandalf.
Legolas and Gandalf. Right.
So it's 2 at 10.
2 at 10. Yep. So now, I go face attacks. Locale 1. So at the moment he's a 6. So if I tap, he would stay as a 6 versus a 10. If I don't tap, he'll be a 3. Which.
Correct.
But the thing is, I'm going to Rivendell just as a staging to go somewhere else. So I don't mind if all my characters end up being tapped.
Right.
So I could definitely give them support. But I've also got a risky blow, which I could use for one of them.
So remember, I have 2 hazards. Only two, but this is one of two.
Mm. Um, so I think what I'll do is I'll tap him because
Yes.
I don't need him to be untapped.
Yes.
So he stays at a 6 and
Versus a 10.
so
That's
so
the way
then
to
he
do
would
it.
only need a 4. The other guy is going to be a 5 versus a 10, so maybe I'll tap them to help him. So I'll just go with a 6. Yep. So I type in 6 versus 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go /roll.
All right. He beat his.
All right. And then I go other locale, and I go
Next.
4.
Yes. That's you go.
Yep.
So.
And I think so he would be a 5 if I tap. I'll tap him.
Mm-hmm.
But since I'm not going to be doing anything at Rivendell, I think I'll tap the other two guys. Oh, at least tap one to bring it down to a 4 that I needed. Yep, I'll do that. I'll tap.
All right, good move. So Legolas is now a 6 versus a 10, just like Gandalf was. Needs a 4 to tie it, 5 to beat it. All right. So done facing attack, and then score the point.
Yep. Okay. So /score. And update the kill by 1.
You got it.
So the risky blow, just out of interest, if I wanted to, I could have used that in addition to tapping.
Correct.
To get it to an automatic.
But now the advantage is
second hazard.
You have done exactly the right thing because I've got another cave drake.
You knew.
Now I'm going to go after the same two characters, Gandalf and Legolas.
So I'll go face attack.
And they're both warriors, so either one of them could use the risky blow. And it would take them, Gandalf right now being tapped as a 5, it would take him up to an 8, and he'd only need a 2 to tie it.
Yeah. Just before we go on, I think last time we were saying about there's some argument for which order you get them to face if you're trying to get the kill points.
I would protect my wizard at all costs. I would play the wizard. I don't think in this case there's a real because you're not choosing whether to tap or not tap. You've already got your guys all tapped. You're just trying to survive it and hopefully kill it. But with that risky blow, I would always play it on my wizard.
On the Gandalf.
Yeah.
Yep. So it doesn't really matter what order you play them.
Right.
Right. Yep. Okay. All right. So I'll just.
If you lose your wizard, you lose 5 points in the game. Originally, it used to be you lost the game if your wizard died. But they changed that in the tournament. They said that was not that fair because you could lose on a turn or like 1 or 2 turns into the game just on a really bad roll.
Yep.
So they changed it to you lose 5 points from the end of your final score if your wizard is dead.
Okay.
So he needs to. The worst he can do is tie this, but you're going to try to kill it. So go ahead and roll. Good.
Okay, and another local 4, and so he's.
And this is the last hazard, so you would tap Elro here to give him a +1.
Oh, I had that in mind as a backup. Thanks for reminding me.
Sure. So he's back up to a 5 versus a 10, and he wants a 6 to get the point. No, he's only up to a 5 because he was tapped. Legolas he starts as a 5, but he was tapped, so he's down to a 4. Elro here tapping takes him back up to a 5. So a 5 will survive, a 6 will get you the point.
Yep. Okay.
And you got it.
Right.
Two kill points on a move to a haven that otherwise would have scored nothing.
Yeah.
But it's
very
worth it.
kind
It's
of you.
worth taking a chance and throwing some creatures every once in a while. You never know. The more dice you roll, the sooner or later it's gonna drop out.
Yeah, as we saw by the corruption checks last
Right.
time. Poor old Elron. So
He's holding his own
that's-
this game.
What did you say?
I said he's doing well this game. He's still in the
Yeah.
game. He's around. It's what, we're 5 turns in, and he's still in the game.
Draw back to 8. Oh, that's good. And I go into the side phase.
Go to end of turn, unless you've got something to do there. I don't think you do.
No. So I go to end of turn phase.
And
Decide
then
whether I want to do a discard. So I'm coming into your turn, so I'm wanting hazards in my hand.
correct.
I've got 2 fair travel and borderlands, so I think I'll discard one of those.
Yeah,
Try and get
there's
the
not a
Necrotrap.
lot of borderlands around. It's not a very useful card. Sorry to say. Some cards are more useful than others. The Fair Travels in Wilderness is probably the only card really worth putting in a deck out of the Fair Travels cards.
I am hoping to go to the Woodland Realm.
Okay, well then you will have two borderlands you could move through. So there you go.
And Enduring Vales, yeah. So that was sort of
that would
the
work.
thought. Whether that makes it worth putting in is another question. So what do? I go back into EO2 discard.
And I will I'll discard 1 and draw 1 and say done.
I go EOT half to finish.
And then don't forget to clean up your cards on the table. You've got the Wilderness and leave the Elf Song out, but the Wilderness and the Risky Blow you can discard. And the Grey Havens. Put back to the location deck.
I forgot that.
Location deck.
Yep.
All right. So we untap. He has to come back.
He's got to come in.
Yes, he has to come back. I'm thinking.
So you'll benefit potentially from Elf Song this turn.
Well, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah,
it's not going to do anything really for me here, but he will come in at Rivendell. And so they're all moving to this site. The 2 hobbits are moving from Moria to this site, and Aragorn.
I think I can guess what you're doing.
Aragorn is moving from Rivendell to this site.
Oh, so
we're going to join up, but we're not joining up at Rivendell. We're both going. Both companies are going to move. So we go into the. I don't have any long events. We go into the movement hazard phase. I'll do the hobbits first. And they're going to Bree. So, from Moria, 1, 2, 3, 4 Wilderness. We can each draw 1. And the hazard limit is 2. And they are moving to a border hold. So a lot of the man creatures attack there. If you have any of those, look for their site type that they can attack. a Slayer would attack there.
Maybe you've got 12. Oh, you haven't updated your GI.
Oh. You got another.
You guessed it.
Thank you. All right. Go ahead. So
Well,
Hobbits first. You can play it on the Hobbit now, or you can hold it and we'll play it on Aragorn again. But all it's going to do is leave him at Rivendell. The Hobbit is going to be much more annoying because they'll have to go back to Bag End to come out.
hang on. So the elf song says no character at Haven may be discarded or returned to its owner's hand for any reason. So if I waited until Aragorn was moving to Bree,
You could
and I
play it
played
on him. You could play it on him.
Would he still until it's during the movement hazard? So wouldn't it be that he's still at the Haven?
No,
and that it
no,
would
no,
have
no.
no effect.
So that's a really good question, and the timing works exactly like this. They're always considered to be at a site, except during the movement hazard phase. During the movement hazard phase, they have a site of origin, which they have left, and a destination site, which they're on the way to. So they're not at either site until the end of the movement hazard phase. They're at the new site. But once they start their movement hazard, meaning when you can play cards on them, they're no longer at that haven if they're moving.
So I could wait and try and...
You could do it on Aragorn.
And since it's the same for all of them...
Correct. Yeah. It's just, the question is, who do you want to make me have to waste a turn getting again? And if it's the Hobbits, or if it's one of the Hobbits, the idea is, hey, they've got to come in. They can't come in at a haven. They have to come in at their specialty home site, and that's it. But it's your call. But yes, the role is equally difficult, no matter who you do it on. It's only counting my role plus my free general influence, and I need to get to 10 with those two.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll go Pool of Home. And I guess Sam is the one because he's got the 2 items.
That's correct, yes.
He can only hand over 1 and the other to have to discard.
Exactly right. So Sam is...
So I mouse over him
and he's going to roll. He needs a 7 if he gets a 6 or less. Yeah, I saw that one die pop up and I didn't see the other one.
Yeah. Okay, so that just...
So that's 1. Now here's what you can do. Play for the second hazard. So go ahead and discard the Call of Home.
Yep.
For your second hazard, play the Mouth of Sauron.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
And get the Call of Home back to hand, and then play it on Aragorn.
Yeah.
So you would use your second hazard on the Hobbits playing the Mouth of Sauron, but it would set you up for Aragorn's movement hazard phase to play that Call of Home on him.
Yep. So I'm playing it as a
short event. Mm-hmm.
So even though it's a short event, it's a hazard short event, so it operates. Yep. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I've never done this as far as the interface.
So go ahead and just you can probably, if it's the top card of your discard, you can just literally drag it from the discard to your hand.
I'll try that. Oh yes, that worked. Yep.
And then you can discard the Mouth of Sauron.
Right. So then I go no more hazards.
So they are there. I will discard Moria. And now we'll do Aragorn, and his path is going to be from the Haven. So it is a double wilderness to a border hold. We can each draw 1.
Right.
And you have 2 hazards, one of which can be that Call of Home to send him back again.
Right. I've also got a Brigands, which could be played.
Right. You could play the Brigands first and then Call of Home him. Or, but But the advantage to me is if you wound him but don't kill him, and he goes back to my hand, when he comes back in the game, he'll come in unwounded.
Yep. Yep. And
So,
he's got no items to discard as well,
right.
which the Brigands does. So yeah, so I'll just go I'll try the Call of Home first.
All right. So again, I have to roll a 7 or better. Ha ha ha. So he goes back. He is a terrible babysitter. He is not keeping an eye on these hobbits.
That's unreal.
And since he goes back,
there's nothing to.
You can still play another hazard if you wanted to. If you had a Nazgul permanent event, like the Ren and the Unclean, you could play it to the table. There's no company to play any hazards or creatures on, but you could still play event cards if you wanted. There you go.
And I have got one. Yep.
Perfect.
When I was tweaking your deck, I was a bit sort of in two minds about these Nazgul with the permanent event, because I was thinking you've got to play it, that's one, and then you've got to tap it to get the permanent event, so it's two hazards to get the effect. And with you having the hobbits and only a 2 hazard limit, I thought maybe it's not good card management.
There's opportunities.
It's a better card when you've got a big party.
Yeah, that's true. But there are definite opportunities for that. You see it right there. You played it on Aragorn as a second hazard that you otherwise wouldn't have had anything to play. And now it's there, and I either have to deal with it, or you can choose to tap somebody right when I need them most. When I'm going to get a faction or an ally or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, yeah. All right, so that's no more. So that's
all right. So I have to go back to hand size.
Same here. So I've got a button here, next movement hazard.
So what you would do with that, you don't need to hit that. What you would do that for would be so that you could go and play more hazards, and it resets the button that you can say no more hazards. So like if I had done the first company, you would go to no more hazards, and then you would push that next movement hazard or next company, whatever it says, and it will it will reset the no hazards button. Okay. So you can that allows you to push no hazards after each company is done.
Right.
So I go to sight phase. I have nothing to do there. I didn't draw the card that I was hoping for. So I'm just going to keep what I've got and go acknowledge end of turn. Discard.
And I'm going to discard one of those fair travels.
Mm-hmm.
And draw a card.
The nice thing about the Thranduil's halls and getting the wood elves is you can get there in one turn from Rivendell. Rivendell over the mountains, through the Anduin Vales, and up into the Woodland Realm. So that's it's a 3-point faction that elves can bring in fairly easily, and it's one move away from Rivendell. So that's all the more reason to play it.
Okay, so it's me starting the turn.
So normally you would move from Rivendell to Lorien, and then from Lorien to a site over on the other side of that map. But with this, you can get there from Rivendell all in one move.
What? Why? Hang on, I'm not sure if I have got that. Just because it's 4 regions, you're saying?
Yes. You can move. You can move region movement
4 regions,
through 4 regions to get there.
Okay, so untap all.
This would be where you could play another character that took you over the 20 mind, and then when you leave the organization phase, you no longer have to deal with it, and long event goes away after the organization phase is over.
Oh, so it would.
So this is where you would cheat
until the next turn.
This is where you play your little cheaty version of bringing more characters than you're allowed, and then the card goes away.
You can do it during the game. Yeah.
And a card goes away, and then you have to reset next turn, but you get an extra turn in there with more characters than you could have normally.
Yep. Okay, so I'll get my sight. But actually, I am going to go to Lorien this turn because I've got Galadriel to play.
Good.
And the Earth. So that's a good combo.
Yeah.
Drag that to my hand. Oh, hang on. Weren't we saying that I would leave Gandalf at the grave?
You could leave Gandalf there to bring Círdan the elf in, but you've already gotten the faction there, and there's no reason to get Círdan if you can go get Galadriel instead. They're equally worth as many points, and they both have high mind that need the wizard to control them, but they will come in and give you 3 additional points in characters. You can't get them both, but I would get one or the other. Once you've got her, that's where I would go. I would go to Lorien and bring her in next turn for 3 more character points.
Yep. All right, so I'm organised now. I'm in the long event, so my elf song comes off.
Correct.
So I just drag that to the discard, and I've got no new ones to play, so I go into the movement hazard phase.
Correct.
Reveal that I'm going to Lorien, and again it's haven to haven, so this time I'll tap it out using the location deck in the regions.
And actually sometimes people will choose, there's 2 different ways to get between Rivendell and Lorien. One of them is 4 wilderness, one of them is 3 wilderness and a borderland. Sometimes if you're playing against a man deck, like with man hazard creatures and slayers and things like that, those key more to the borderlands. So if somebody is using a man hazard creature, you might choose to not follow that site path and instead go through 4 wilderness.
Yep.
But 4 wilderness opens the door.
Corruption.
4 wilderness opens the door for the lure of nature to trigger more often, or for deep wilderness creatures to attack.
Yeah, I think I'm better to go through Angel and Vales because you're corruption, and you could play that lure of nature. Did I miss one there?
You missed Rudar. Just go back and click Rudar 1. There we go.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So I'll draw 2.
And I'll draw 2.
And you'll never believe what I drew. Key that to the borderland. I was talking about what potentially could happen, but I didn't have that card in my hand when I said that. I just drew it after I said it. So I will key that to the borderland, the Anduin Vales, and it's 2 strikes.
I've got no cancellers.
Your characters are killing things over there. You don't really need to worry too much. They're a tough company. I do want to keep targeting your wizard because I do want to see if I can't possibly wound him or hopefully kill him. But we'll do Gandalf and Legolas again. Okay, and it's just like a cave drake. It's 2 at 10.
I'm just checking if I've got any resources that help me, and I haven't. Right, so I will face attacks, locale.
Another thing, you remember you do have the Earth of Galadriel's Orchard, so if you can keep one person untapped, do so.
Oh.
Not. It doesn't have to be these 2 guys. I just mean somebody in the company as a whole.
Just checking. Yes, it doesn't matter who plays it. It's just got to be somebody untapped.
But what I would do is I would go ahead and try to kill this. I would say Gandalf and Legolas should each tap and try to beat the roll.
Yes, because I've got the option of leaving Elrond untapped, haven't I? Where he's got the good prowess.
Yes.
If you come up with another attack.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. So I'll tap Gandalf. So that's
so he wants a 4
versus...
or a 5. 4 will tie it.
6 versus 10.
So he tied it. So you won't kill the point, but you did squeak through without him taking a wound or anything. So Legolas,
he will tap. There's no point, no reason not to. So he's a 5 versus 10.
and he beats his.
He got him.
So I'll discard the
so
ambusher.
discard. And you've still got three more hazards.
I've got 2 cards that I can play. I'll put this on him.
I'm a bit nervous.
And I'll put
that's not so
this
bad.
on him. So he's got 3 corruption points on him. Elrond does.
Yep. And he's gone through 3 wildernesses.
And he's gone through 3 wilderness. I would wait and tap Elro here in support on the last one, assuming that he makes it through the first 3 or first 2.
Yep.
Because otherwise, if he runs away, you'll still at least have Elro here untapped to play the Earth.
Okay, yep, I get the logic. Okay, so that's 3. Oh, that's it now, isn't it?
Right, that's it. Oh, I'm sorry, let me put no more hazards.
I know I should have clicked done facing before that.
That's all right.
Face the... So now I click on... Oh, hang on, no, first of all I've got to draw back. I've got to discard back to 10. Travel wilderness. Right, okay, so I'll discard that one. And discard that one. So that's 8. So I go into the side phase. I put Rivendell back in the location deck.
And he'll make some corruption checks now.
Yep.
So the first 2 will be at 3. So beat a 3 twice.
Beat a 3 twice, okay, so /R.
Good.
/R.
Good. Now, you want to keep him in play, so you'll tap Elro here to give him a +1 to his last corruption check, so he only has to beat a 2.
Okay.
And the worst thing that would happen is you rolled a 2 here.
She did roll earlier. I've seen it done.
Yes. Yep. So now you can go to your sight phase.
Yep.
And you can tap Elrond to play the Earth of Galadriel's Orchard. It will trigger the corruption card on Elra here, because playing an item, target character makes a corruption check each time a character in his company gains an item. So he has a corruption check at 3.
Yep.
With the dagger and the lure of expedience. And since everyone's tapped, you just need to roll better than a 3. Good.
Yep. Okay.
The dice make the game very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like in Magic and other card games, the matchup is always going to match up the same way. This character versus this character, it always ends up with this result. But when you're rolling dice, you never know. You
Yep.
get hobbits killing dragons and all kinds of crazy things. Elrond running away, corrupt.
I think I'll just draw, and I'll go end of turn. Oh, I should have. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I've done my draw. So
All
I
right.
acknowledge for you. He's getting used to these buttons.
Yeah, I understand. So I'm done. So you can give me the
Then so
end
I
of
pass
turn.
it to you.
Yep. All right. Well, remember when I call of home to your hobbit and you were moving to Bag End and they just came in at their home site? Well, Aragorn is going to do the same thing because Bree is where he hangs out. That is his home site. So he comes in with them, but still, I have nothing to do there. So I was hoping to draw the faction, his rangers, but I have not. So we're going to have to run away and go do something else in the meantime. So we've been wasting some turns here, but we have something to do. And we're going to stealth. Oh wait, before I do that, let me pass the sword back to Aragorn. So Sam has 3 corruption points on him, but he has a +3 to his roll, so he can't fail it. He's going to give Aragorn his sword. Aragorn now has 4 direct influence, which is enough to control one of these hobbits. So we'll put him over here and swap them around. And now, at the end... Oh, and Pippin is going to give him back his Athelas, too. So he can use that to remove a corruption card from a character in his company. It's kind of it's a sort of a one-of-a-kind minor item for Aragorn.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Pippin, since my company size is only 2, because the hobbits each count half, Pippin is going to tap and play the stealth at the end of my organization phase. Well, let me untap. Let me get my through. Okay. Now he taps and plays stealth. So this is a scout-only card. Play at the end of the organization phase, only if the scout's company size is less than 3. So we have a company size of 2. And by playing this card, no creature hazards can be played on this company this turn.
Right.
So that was the missing piece from the avoidance deck, the stealth.
Right.
So I'm going to leave that on the table like we do so we can remember that no creatures can be played against them. And we'll go ahead and do organize and go to movement hazard phase, and we'll go to the Barrow Downs. So we're going from Arthedain to Cardolan. So it's a double wilderness with the ruins and layers, with the undead attack, but again, no creatures can be played. They're stealth.
Yep. Okay, I'll just look through my no creatures, right. Seeing what I've got. Yeah, I've got a lot of creatures. That worked out well.
Well, then I played it at the right time.
Yeah. So I've got Lure of the Senses, which is the one that triggers at a haven.
Right, and that's one that can go on any character. Hobbits, there are a lot of corruption cards that cannot go on hobbits.
But since you've got 3 already on Aragorn, I'm tempted.
You should. I would put that on Aragorn.
Yeah, load him up, even though he has got the Athelas. Oh, so is there an argument against doing that? That you're just going to? Well, I've got to get you to use it at some stage.
Right.
Then you'll be more susceptible later for
So
another one.
he can tap and discard that to discard the corruption card, but he has to tap and he has to discard his Athelas to do it. So there's
Yep.
even just playing that corruption card is it's going to force him to do something.
Yep. Okay, so the rest of mine are creatures, so I'll go no hazards.
All right, so I draw back up to 8.
And I've got to discard one.
I'll put the stealth in the discard pile. I'll move Bree back to my location deck since I have not tapped it yet, not having done anything there.
Yep.
I don't want to give anything to Aragorn because he's got enough corruption. So we're going to enter the site.
Okay.
And it's 1 at 8. Aragorn is a 6 plus 1 from his broken sword. Is up to a 7.
Yep.
So he's a 7 versus 8, which is automatic.
That's automatic. Yep.
And then Sam will tap to get
hang on.
everybody's. Oh, yeah.
I'm just wondering whether I should have used Adunafel to tap.
We could back
It's
up if
too
you
late
like.
now, isn't it? I could have done it as part of the hazard limit. I only played one hazard.
Right.
But would I have?
Yeah, it's up to you. We can back up if you want. I have a card that untaps a Hobbit, so I'll be able to play that.
But just in general, I suppose I'm thinking you're going to a site that plays minor major, so
right. So you would tap. You would probably tap Aragorn at the end of the movement hazard phase, and then I have to send one of my hobbits against the undead auto attack.
I won't because I didn't think of it. But I'll
No. We can do it because I can respond to that. I have cards that will let me respond to it. If you want to back up, we will.
So that'll get that card out of your hand. Yeah.
So he's untapped.
I would have tapped him, and you would have responded.
He was tapped because he played stealth. Sam was untapped. So you tap that and tap Aragorn? Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Aragorn is tapped. So.
But you could still do what you did.
No, because I have to give it to an untapped character. So Sam would have to face the auto attack. So he would have to cancel it, and then I would have to untap somebody to play that item. So I had the combination of cards, but you can force me to use them is where we're going.
Yep. Okay.
So Sam, instead of so Aragorn is tapped, Pippin is tapped, Sam is untapped, and he's a 1 prowess. He would be a 1 versus an 8 against the undead attack at the Barrow Downs. So instead of facing it, we enter, but Sam taps and plays a concealment to cancel the undead auto attack. And then we untap Sam and discard the halfling strength. And then we tap him to get the Torg of Hughes. So you burned up one of my cancelers and one of my untapper cards by tapping the Adunafel at the right time. So it was to your advantage to do that. I was able to move through it, but it burned up canceller cards. Remember I said the hobbits really need canceller cards to play this game right. So I'm going to draw back to 8. Got the Torque. Yeah, that's the one, remember. So you've got...
I remember how good that was.
That was the one that you had working with the combination of the torque and the star glass, because the star glass kept
Yeah.
canceling the undead attacks.
Mm,
I decided to, since I was going to do Aragorn, I decided to start with Athelas as the minor item, just to be a little bit more thematic with him.
okay. So I've just got to do my end of turn. This is always the tricky bit. I think I'll just done. I won't bother
Okay.
doing a discard.
So I need to bump my item points up. I forgot. So I've
And
got
your GI.
and my GI. Right. I've got.
So I can't do the Earth of Gladriel until I go back to Bag End. Yep.
So you'll get it at Lorien at the end of the turn. It plays, even though it's at a haven, it plays just like any other item during the sight phase. Oh, you did play it. I'm sorry, you did
I'd
play
already
it.
played it, yeah.
You played it. Okay, never mind.
Okay, so untap all. So I can bring Galadriel in.
Yes.
But she'll have to follow.
She can come in
Gandalf.
directly under control, direct influence from Gandalf. Excellent. You have 2 of the elf lords in the game.
And so I increase my character by 3.
Right.
Okay, so I've got Quick Beam, so I can either go to Welling Hall to play him, or I can head to the Bag End to drop off the.
Or what you could do is you could split them, and you could let Gandalf and Galadriel go to get Quick Beam, and let Elrond and the Earth go over to store at Bag End.
Okay, sounds good.
Now remember, you've got corruption cards that you want to try to remove. If you have another elf song, you don't have to worry about it. You'll just play it out of hand and they'll go away.
Yeah, I was wishing I did have one. Let's see. So if I tap them, I'd still have Legolas untapped to play Quick Beam.
Or if you're sending them in the direction of Bag End, you send Gandalf and Galadriel to Welling Hall. Quick Beam's good. He's as strong as a wizard. He's a 6'9".
So I'm just trying to think. So the Earth doesn't have to stay with Elrond, does it?
You could give it to anybody, really.
So I've got to decide who goes to the Bag End and who goes to Welling Hall. I've sort of got a choice, haven't I? It's not constrained by who's currently holding the Earth.
Correct.
So I guess I ask myself, which is the more dangerous trip? So from Lorien to Welling Hall is just a region.
It's a double wilderness. Yeah. You can't get to Bag End from Lorien in one move.
One go, no.
It's 5 regions away.
Yep.
You could move to the Barrow Downs, and maybe you draw a major item that you can play this turn, and then the next turn you get the rest of the way to Bag End.
Yep. So the party that goes to Barrow Downs is going to go through more regions, so they're probably going to want to be the stronger party, and a weaker party go to Fang Horn to Welling Hall.
Mm-hmm.
So the strong party to go to Bag End, taking. So probably just Gandalf on his own could head off to Bag End.
Now, I don't think you'll be able to do... Well, yes, you will. You could put...
Oh, sorry, to Barrow Downs, I mean.
But I was going to say, if Gandalf does not control anybody, Galadriel can control Elrohir, and you'll have 20... You'll be using 19 of your 20 mind, with each of the elf lords having a follower.
Okay.
So Gandalf, it's possible. What I was looking at was the possibility that you could move Galadriel out from under Gandalf's control and still keep everyone in the game, and you can.
Right. And the advantage of that is that it'll just be Gandalf on his own. Is it going to
Welling Hall?
To the Barrow Downs.
Or to Barrow Downs.
Oh, to Welling Hall.
This is your decision.
Yeah, my game. Yeah. It's a bit of a guess because
what I would do, the first thing I would do is I would probably try to remove those corruption cards and see whether anybody is still carrying corruption, or if you have to tap them to get the cards off, or make those. That's a decision probably before you decide who's going where. Is how do you want to deal with the corruption?
Okay. Yep. So I'll try Elrond to remove his.
So if he taps, he needs greater than a 4. If he does not tap, he needs greater than a 7.
Well, I know I'm playing a corruption deck, and I've already got other cards, so I want to make sure I get rid of it. So I'm going to tap.
Mm-hmm. That's usually a smart move.
So / oops. Keyboard's doing something funny. /
Good.
Yep.
All right, so that's gone.
And the lure experience, I think, greater than a 5, so I'm going to tap him as well.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, that's the effective deal. That's the proper approach to deal with corruption, is to take your time and make sure you remove it. It slows the game down, but usually that means that they don't have any enhanced creatures, because they're playing corruption plus creatures that don't get any bonuses from things like the minion stir or the undead enhancers.
Okay.
All right. So now
I think so. When you play an ally, someone's got to tap.
They tap to bring him in, and he comes in. Now don't worry about the mind on the ally, because that's just for controlling. That there are some other target cards that make use of that number, but in itself it doesn't matter. You don't have to have direct influence to control that ally with that mind. But yes, you tap an ally. You tap a character to bring the ally in. So,
I think I'll go with your idea of moving Galadriel to take Elrohir. Because then I've got an extra untapped character, and Gandalf will go on his own to take the Earth. He'll do that trip.
The other advantage of doing what you did is you removed the lure of expedience. If you transfer an item, like the Earth moves from Elrond to Gandalf, that would trigger a corruption check from the lure of expedience. So it's good that you removed it before you transfer the item.
Yep. All right. So I'll click on Galadriel and organize and put her in locale 8.
And then click
how did you swap them around? So
click Elrohir and click organize and put him in his same row, and he'll just follow her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So that's that, and I'll move
The Earth
click
to
on
Gandalf.
the Earth. Transfer. And I've got to do... And so
that was...
It was 3.
He has a corruption check of 2. He's got the Elf Stone and the Earth. Each gives
2,
one.
yep.
Each gives 1 corruption.
Yep. Okay, so /R.
Good.
Alright. And now I'm going to split them, so I'll...
So you can put a sight down for
gap.
Gandalf and then a sight down for where Elrond starts.
Yep. Okay, so if so I want to create that spacer, so I put the region card down first and then I move Elrond across.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. Okay. So I go into regions, any region.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not in the regions. It's down in the standard sites.
It's the sites, yeah. I was finding them.
It's a region card in the site tab.
Yeah. I did that last game, I think.
I do it all the time.
You think, I want a region, so I'll click on regions.
Exactly. It makes sense.
So local 4. Now if I click on Elrond and...
Click on Elrond and say organize and say new company. And then click on Legolas and say organize and say whatever that last number is that you have. There you go.
Yep. All right.
Perfect. You're working this like a pro.
And what I'm thinking now is that in the book it says that experienced players of tuned decks play a 1 deck game in 20 to 60 minutes. So I'm a little way off that.
Well, we're taking lots of time talking anyway, so it's not.
Yeah.
There's no speed game going on here.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to grab the barrow down. And I'll grab the other one I want at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Which is going to be Welling Hall while I'm in here. Close.
See if drag that second one. Drag Welling Hall back to your hand. Drag it back to your hand and put it in the locale after 4. Whatever number. Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
Okay. Good.
Gosh. All right. So I'll just quick flick through my resources to see if there's anything I can use. So I've got a Ford. So that I can tap a Ranger. I think I've only got...
Unfortunately, you have no untapped Rangers. Elro here is your Ranger. Gandalf is not even a Ranger.
Well, that's bad luck. All right, so I'm
organised. You can hang on to that. You can hang on to it for a turn and play it next turn, and it's worth having, but not this. Won't play it this turn.
I've got no short events, so I go straight into the movement hazard.
And then pick whichever. So this is where you decide who's more vulnerable. You usually do them first. If you've got canceller cards, you save them for the second company.
Gandalf's the wizard, and he's going further, so I'm going to play him first.
Good.
So I would click on that card to show that was the company.
Right. So he'll go from the standard regions. He'll move.
Oh, because it's going from
Yeah,
so
he's
I
going to have to go Wolden
/P.
Foothills. No, because it's not the nearest haven. He's moving from Lorien, not Rivendell. So what it will actually be, I'll do this if you don't mind.
Yeah.
He'll go here. So he goes over the mountains at the Redhorn Gate and over through Holland and Cardolan for the final stop at the Barrow Downs.
Right. Okay.
So we each draw. You draw 1, I draw 2.
2 hazard limit, and it's wilderness all the way, plus ruins and lairs.
All right. So I have a corruption card that does not play on wizards, so I will not play that on him. And I will say we're done. No hazards.
No hazards.
No
Right.
hazards.
And I'm already. So how come I'm already at 8?
Uh-huh.
What I played to reduce me.
You drew 1, but you played. What did you play?
I think what I play.
You played
Maybe
Galadriel?
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's why I'm still 8. Okay. So it's the next movement hazard.
Mm-hmm.
So I click
So
on the other.
I've clicked next movement hazard. I'm back to 8. And now we move.
Yep.
And this will be a /P because you are moving from Lorien to Wellinghall, and Lorien is the nearest haven. So if you want to do /P and click on Wellinghall, and I'll draw 1.
And I'll draw 1.
I'll put this on Galadriel. And that's all I have. I'm not going to play anything else.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
I didn't have any creatures, and I'd like to hold on to what I've got.
Okay, so I've got to discard 1.
And now you can choose to do either sight phase. If you did draw an item to play for Gandalf, he can do that, but he will have to enter, and he would have to face an undead strike 1 at 8, which if he were not tapping, he'd be down to a 3 versus an 8. So he'd need a 5 to try to play an item. Or you can just jump on over to Wellinghall and play Quick Beam.
No, I haven't picked up a major item. So
Probably better that way. He's safer this way. You're not taking a chance on maybe wounding him on his way to drop off the earth.
Yep.
But you still got a 2-point ally to bring in, so not a wasted turn at all.
Yep. So I've got to pick someone who's not tapped. So I'll go Legolas. And tap that.
Mm-hmm.
And so add 2 to my ally score.
Good turn.
Resolve hand to 8 cards. Oh, okay, yep. So I've still got a sight phase button.
Oh, yeah, we skipped through that. Just go ahead and push it. Push sight phase. And now you can go to end of turn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do that. You get excited.
Now I pick up a major item. I just picked up a major item. Okay, I'm going to do a discard and draw.
Okay. I'm going to discard 1 and draw 1 and say done.
Oh, I've got to change my GI, haven't I? Because so I've got 9,
right. You've got 1 free.
9 and 10. I've only got 1 free, yeah. You're probably going to hit me with a call of home.
I don't have any call of home in here, so you're safe.
Oh, okay.
I think Aragorn is going to tap and discard the Athelas to remove the Lure of the Senses. So you can discard that from him.
Right.
And we will go... So we're going to go to the Isles of the Dead that live. You know this site.
Yep.
So it's Cardolan to the Eridorian coast. You can draw 2. I'll draw 1.
Waiting for that. So I've got a hazard limit of 3.
He has a limit of 2.
Oh, 2
The
hobbits.
hobbits. Sneaky little
And
hobbits.
That's playable. And that's playable. Okay. And Aragorn is already tapped. I've got a couple of creatures, and I've got Nika Breaker. So I'm thinking that you're going to try and play a major item.
Correct.
So you're going to want to leave either the Hobbit or Pippin.
I would really want both of them, because what I would need to do is I would need Sam to tap with the Torque of Hughes to cancel the auto attack, and then I'd need Pippin to bring the item in. Because Aragorn, as a tapped character, is useless to me right now. He can't face the auto attack. I can't choose. Well, there's 2 strikes. There's 2 strikes at 8. So he's not going to be able to. I can't choose him to face a strike, and he can't play an item because he's tapped.
Yep.
So if you tap out both hobbits, my turn is wasted.
Yes, I'm just trying to work out from my creature cards which combination is going to do that.
Sure.
So I've got Brigands, which is 2 at 8, but I don't get to choose.
But yes, you do, because I can't pick a tapped character.
Oh, so effectively they each would have to face one.
It would have to be the hobbits. If there was a 2-strike attack, I would have to choose the hobbits. Because Aragorn, like I said, Aragorn has used his turn up getting rid of that corruption card.
Yep. Alright, so I'm going to go... What are them? Yeah, I'm just debating between Nika Breakers and the Brigands, because I'm figuring you're going to cancel it.
Well, I'm probably going to cancel it no matter what. If you're worried about what I would face, the hobbits actually do better against the Nika Breakers than they do against the Brigands, because the Brigands are going to target their 1 prowess. The Nika Breakers are going to target their 4 mind.
Yeah, and it versus a 7, yeah. All right. Okay, so I'll play the Nika Breakers.
Okay. So, again, I have to not tap them to keep them useful to me, and not tapping them reduces my roll by 3. So what that means is Sam and Pippin will each be a 1 versus a 7.
Yep.
But the worst it will do is tap them, but that's what you want to do anyway. So he is a 1 versus 7.
Good.
And he also is a 1 versus a 7. So he is tapped.
Right.
So
and that goes into this card.
And
I've got 1 more.
You got 1 more?
And I'll play the Brigands.
The Brigands, yeah. Okay, so I actually have a card to protect me against this. I have the Gate, the Dark Quarrels, because it is a mana. It's a mana attack, so they are canceled, and that did not take tapping anybody to do it. So that was good for me.
So it makes me wonder if I could have hit you with dragons, but you just don't know.
Well, I would have canceled. I've got a lot of cancelers. It
Ah,
would have.
right. Okay, well, that makes me feel better.
Yeah, it would have. It would have slowed me down. The worst it would have done would have been to waste my turn.
Yep.
But I'll go ahead and I'll drag the barrow downs to the discard pile. We will enter, and Sam will tap, and he'll tap the torque to cancel the auto attack of 2 at 8. He makes a corruption check, but he has only 3 corruption, and he has a +3 to his roll, so he's safe.
Yep.
And then I will untap Pippin, and he will tap to get a sword.
Great.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, wrong sword. He can't get that there. Ha ha ha.
Oh, 'cause
I
he's
need
not
to
a
pay
warrior.
attention to what. No, it's a greater item. I went for Orcrist. I was thinking I had Glamdring.
Ah.
I changed it out and I forgot.
Oh, no.
So he is untapped. I wasted all those cards, but it's okay.
Well, you are distracted trying to help me, so if you want to swap it, I don't mind.
No, not at all.
You're not going to take that step.
So that's good. Maybe I'll draw a major item next time before I go there again, or before I leave there.
Okay, so I've got
So
to
you
draw
can
back
discard
to-
and draw.
Oh, I may. Oh, you've gone to that stage, right? I'm with you.
The swords, Orcrist and Glamdring, look very similar. They were painted by the same artist. The difference is one points to the right and one points to the left, and that's about the only. The colors are pretty similar. The paintings look very much alike.
Yep. So I'm coming into my movement phase, so I want good resources rather than hazards. I think I'm just gonna decline the discard option.
All right.
Oh, I'll be back in 30 seconds. I've got to turn the soup off.
Go ahead. Take your time.
So I don't think we're going to finish this game in this session.
We can
Only
stop at
halfway
any
through
point.
our play decks. I think I might stop because it's back to an even number of turns.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh, did I start or did you start?
I don't even remember. I started. You want to take your turn?
Yeah.
Or we can stop it. It doesn't matter. We don't have to stop at an even number of turns. We stop at any point we want to stop.
Yeah, I might stop now.
That's fine.
Yeah, a couple of hours is good. Yeah.
That's fine. So we've saved the game, and we can pick back up at any point.
Yeah. So let me just check my calendar.
I'm going to stop the recording here.
Okay.